Welcome back to Bowl Expo. Mike Flanagan here with Nelson Burton Jr. And we just got done seeing the Roto-Grip balls get launched, all 5 of them. Randy Peterson, Chris Schlimmer, Stu Williams, and Wes Malott. And boy, I've been seeing social media blowing up going over these 5 balls.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Roto-Grip has been good for me. I know we have a segment here with the young people on this unit, but quickly in 1972, I led 5 out of 6 PBA tournaments on the Winter Tour, all with a Roto-Grip ball. 1976, I won the Masters, Roto-Grip ball. Shelly Goodwin, who's going to be on our thing, just got a new Roto-Grip Hypercell. Look out. I can't wait to get the new ones in my hand.
Yeah, so a lot of great response on that, but we're here now to talk a little bit about the youth and the future of bowling. And Bo, you've been nice enough to line up a fine young lady here, Miss Shelly Goodwin. And Shelly, welcome to our program.
Thank you.
Now, Bo, tell everybody at home a little bit about how phenomenal this young lady is.
Well, I met Shelly, Mike, about 1.5 years ago. Actually, I met her. We have a great junior program at Stewart Bowl down in Stewart, Florida. And I met her when she was 12, 13 years old, always had talent. And about 1.5 years ago, her mother came walking in with this cute little girl, and I was bowling with another pro bowler, Jim Long, and her mom says, "Mr. Burton, will you watch my little daughter bowl?" And I'm going, oh. Okay, well, I watched her throw a couple of balls, and I said, you know what? You know who Lucian Lauren is? He's the trainer for Secretariat. I felt like Lucian Lauren watching Secretariat run around the track without a saddle on. And so I've worked with Shelly, and she's done most of the work, and it's a terrific story. It's a story I think that all this industry should know. It's what's available for junior players out there, the financial help available for junior players, and how to get in the program, and how successful these 2 young players we have in there. We also have Pete Vergos in here, who is also another top junior player in this area. So, Mike, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too, and welcome you guys. I mean, it's so cool to have the youth here. You guys were able to come out and be part of Bowl Expo this year. We'll start with you, Pete. What do you think of the Bowl booth and the Bowl Expo experience so far?
I think this is amazing. I mean, it's a great setup, you know. I mean, it's something that I'm experiencing for my first time ever, and you know, I'm seeing new things, and yeah, I'm excited.
And Shelly, your initial response here to the booth, and just you're taking it all in?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really cool to see actually how big the bowling industry is.
Now I understand that you're lined up. You were a senior in high school. You're 18 years old, and you just recently have signed a deal to go to a bowling college. Where are you going, and tell us a little bit about that? I'm
going to be attending Lindenwood University in the fall. I'm going to be studying criminal justice, and I'm going to be bowling for their school.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And right now, Pete, tell us a little bit about where you're at right now. Are you still in high school, or?
I am a sophomore at Apopka High School. In bowling, we won the state championships for team my freshman year.
That's awesome, and I understand that your parents own an automotive shop, and every time you bowl a 300 or an 800 series, they do some sort of tribute to you. Could you talk about that a little bit?
My dad has this like little shrine for me in the waiting room, and he has all my achievements, you know, anything I've done good, it just in the room, and just taking a lot of tribute to that.
Now, I know you're close friends with Hall of Famer Randy Peterson, who we just saw a little while ago. You guys are very close. And Randy was telling me that you haven't had such a great go of it so far. Early on, you had a little bit of health problems, and you chose to go bowling. Could you talk a little bit about some of the things that you've overcome in your life early on?
When I was 6 years old, I was diagnosed with hydrocephalus, which is I had fluids gaining in my head, and it was causing my brain to tilt. And you know, like anyone else, I needed the fluids to flush, and they weren't. So I had this metal plate put in my head, and it allowed me to have very few options. And that's where bowling came in. And ever since, I mean, it's just been clicking.
And no contact sports for you or anything like that. So you had to find a sport, and that's what's so great about bowling, Bo, is he was able to find a sport, and he's excelling at it.
Yes, and we've heard a lot about him. He bowled a lot of 300 games, I think.
Yes, sir. 52.
52. My gosh. How many you got, Mike?
Let me look at my notes. I don't know if Randy got 16 years old.
Yes.
16 years old, 52 300 games. And how many of those are with Storm and Roto-Grip? A majority of them?
All of them.
All of them.
Well,
all of them.
Speaking of 300s, Shelly anchored the team that shot the only Baker 300 in collegiate history and high school history in this country, and she shot that with a high road, Shelly?
Yes.
And then you go on and tell us this year she's bowled 5 tournaments. We have a great program here in Florida for junior bowling, as Pete and Shelly will attest to, and they have pro tournament-like tournaments once a month, and they're on YouTube or television. Shelly's won 4 out of 5 in a second, and if you can take us through kind of how you won. I know the first one was on a U.S. Open and you used Storm ball. So.
Yeah, the first one was on the U.S. Open, and Hank Boomershine had recently sent me a Marvelous, so I tried it out. And at first I was trying to hook it a lot, but then I went inside and threw just straight up, and I had the first 7, and then I ended up winning that tournament.
And that was on TV, and then about 2 weeks later, I saw you won with the Zero Gravity.
Yeah.
And we got a new Zero Gravity in her bag, and that lane condition, you were hooking it yay much. What was the deal there?
Yeah, it was all the way right, throwing it about at the 3 board, going straight up the gutter.
Yeah, and hooking it in there. So, you know, it's interesting, Mike, and people at home, especially parents, and I'll let Shelly once again fill this in. There's availability in all these tournaments of smart money. So what would normally be a prize money, correct me if I'm wrong, Shelly, applies to your college expenses. And you build up almost like $10,000 towards your college expenses. And granted, you have a scholarship to Lindenwood University. But just how does that work? How do you use that smart money in college?
Basically, when you win the tournaments, the money you get, it goes into your smart account. And then once you get to college, you can use that money for books and tuition and all your other costs that you're going to have.
So it's a great deal, Mike.
Yeah, and the Smart Fund is managed by our governing body, the USBC,
okay.
and all of the tournaments throughout the country that are eligible for scholarship money. They've established this vested account so that the money's always there and it's available for the kids to be able to use. And the other thing is sometimes when you run a tournament and maybe someone doesn't end up going to college or they choose a different career path, the money stays there and it goes back to the organization. They can refund that money. It's a pretty cool thing. Pete, have you participated in any tournaments eligible for scholarships, and have you gained any scholarships?
Yes, of course. Just some of the tournaments that Shelly does also with the Florida Junior Bowling Tour tournaments. I go to a lot of those. I'm actually going to go this weekend to the Junior Gold Prep to get ready for Junior Gold. I've won that tournament many times, and I've gained quite a bit of scholarship money from it, and other tournaments around, such as Bowl Florida. Actually, that was the biggest tournament I've won as far as prize fund. I won $1,200 from that, and it's as the years gone on, gaining more and more scholarship money. It's helping me, with options later on as to making it easier for me when I get into college.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys are real pros sitting here and being willing to come up and spend some time with us up here. We've had some pro bowlers here in the booth. I have to ask you, I know obviously Randy and Bo, you guys both look up to because you have such a close relationship, but is there anybody here in the Storm booth that, we'll start with you, Pete, that you were looking forward to seeing and meeting here this weekend?
I was actually really looking forward to meeting Mike Fagan. Mike Fagan is, I adore watching Mike Fagan bowl. Just having no emotion on the lanes, just being a very well-spirited off the lanes. I was very, very welcome to see him today.
Shelly?
I was really looking forward to meeting Jason Belmonte. He's just such a great guy all around, and I just recently saw a video he did with the trick shots where they were out on the skate park, and he's just such a cool guy. That was great to meet him.
Belmo with that video, Bo. I don't know if you're aware of this video. It is a bit of a trick shot video, but 6 million views.
Really?
6 million people from that other pool of folks that don't necessarily throw the ball all the time. And I guarantee you proprietors out there saw some people trickle in to do a little bit of bowling in their bowling centers thanks to Jason Belmonte. And he'll be up in the next segment with Randy Peterson, which, folks, you definitely want to stick around for that. Coming up today at 3 o'clock, Norm Duke, Randy Peterson, Pete Weber, and Wes Millot will be joining Randy up here on this stage to talk about some of their PBA stories and the success that they've had with our product line. And then Mike Fagan's also running around here. He's got a couple of interviews that he'll be breaking in with. And also to let everybody know that's been tuning in all day, we'll be wrapping up coverage today about 5 o'clock. Bo and I will be back with some guests later. And then, of course, tomorrow we'll be here all day long, beginning at 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. So, Bo, I know that you had a little more information about Shelly here and some of the things that's going on, you know, in her life and what's happening. I know that you've helped coach her along. Talk a little bit more and let the people know a little bit more about this phenomenal young lady.
Well, it's easy to talk about Shelly Goodwin. I mean, she's the real deal, and I have to say it to her, although she's very modest. She is in The Great Gatsby as an actress this year. She's come out of her shell, but mostly it's her bowling and her training. She's using Storm equipment, but Shelly has the wherewithal to practice 15 games a day. I mean, every day, work at it, and has really earned everything that she has gained so far. And I talked to her coach, Phil Biden, in St. Louis at Lindenwood College, just to see how many scholarships are available. And Phil came up with pretty much this. There's 147 teams, parents, out there that give scholarship money. Let's say there's 10 on each team. That's 1,470 scholarships available for men. On the women's side, where Shelly will be going to Lindenwood University, there's approximately 123 schools with scholarships and money available to the women. That's 1,200 and some scholarships out there. It's something that should not be overlooked. And you know, bowling's a great sport. And you go to college and have them paid for it, it is really a nice thing to do. Shelly has earned all of that.
And Pete, do you have any plans of where you might be going to college for the Gordon Vaticans of the world, the Bill Straubs of the world, the Del Warrens of the world that are watching right now? Is there a particular place that you're leaning towards?
I've thought about it. I really want to actually look into somewhere like Nebraska, you know, as opposed to, you know, for bowling. And really what I want to major into is sports media. It's really something that I've taken part in thinking about a lot. So as time goes on, I don't know if it might change or not. You know, I still got a long time ahead, but as of right now, that's what my plans are.
Excellent. Well, guys, I think this is a good opportunity now. I know Michael Fagan's standing by with a very special guest. Let's throw it down to Mike down on the showroom floor. Mike, take it away.
Hi, guys. This is Mike Fagan here. We're out on the floor, and I wanted to let you guys know that we're here with President of Turbo Grips, Lori Mraz. How are you, Lori?
I'm great, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. It's kind of a good segue because we've got some great junior players out on the stage right now. And let's talk a little bit about the Turbo Collegiate Expo that's coming up next month.
Coming up in a few weeks, actually. 135 high school kids from around the country. I think we have 22 states represented. We bring out our fine pro staff for 3 days of on-lane and classroom instruction. Started about 4 years ago, and the concept was really to bridge the gap between high school bowling, which is so popular now, and college bowling, which has also become quite popular and successful. And there was a sort of a disconnect between the two, so the Collegiate Expo brings in these high school kids from around the country. We have 20 colleges represented this year, so they kind of come in and recruit a little bit, take a look at the talent that's out there. So it's a great event, and we get to see all of our fine pro staff like Mike here. So.
Absolutely. I was there last year, and I will say it's a fantastic event. A lot of good schools coming out there to recruit talent. So the kids really, we're loving it. But what else is going on at Turbo? I've heard you guys got an anniversary coming up.
Well, Switch Grip, that interchangeable thumb technology, which is also fingers, celebrating 10 years already. It's hard to believe that 10 years have gone by, but it's gone by fast, but I'll have to say that it's really transformed the way Storm, Rotogrip, pretty much every major ball company in the business demos equipment nowadays, and they all feature the interchangeable thumb. And competitive bowlers like yourself and a lot of our other fine staffers use the interchangeable thumb and been very successful with it.
Well, I love the Switch Grip. I couldn't bowl without it, and I know that the matchmaker process from Storm loves having it. So, Lori, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it, and enjoy Bowl Expo.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Mike Fagan, thank you so much. Hey, a couple of quick shout outs here. All of our sales force is here. Every single one of them are here. And we've got some people watching back home in some pro shops. They've got it up on the flat screen. Everybody's watching. They're excited about the new Roto Grip ball release. And Bruce Merriman and his staff at Sports Plus in Alexandria, Virginia, they're watching right now. And Mike Luongo wanted to send out a shout out to those folks, as well as pro shop operator and staff member Tony Nelson out there. So shout out to you guys and everybody else that's watching here today. Now, you know, Bo, earlier we had an opportunity to talk about tour life a little bit. And now I think it's great to try to get a young perspective of kind of what tournaments are coming up for these two to bowl, and kind of what it's like being someone going to high school or into college and getting ready, you know, trying to bowl tournaments on the weekends, but keep up with their schoolwork, and mom and dad being able to take time off work to get them to the tournaments and things like that. And we'll start with you, Shelly. What's it like being a predominant youth bowler, all the practice regimen? You know, what's a typical week for you, you know, your senior year before you're going off to college?
I'd go to high school, and then I'd usually come practice with Bo around 12, and then we'd bowl till like 3 or 4, and then I'd usually go to my college classes at night. But I think the bowling really helped me with my schoolwork, because when I'd get so stressed out with school, I could just go to the bowling alley and like let all my stress out with bowling with Bo and just not have to worry about schoolwork at the time, and just worry about bowling.
Shelly, I think it's interesting that for people out there, we're talking about smart money and all that. You have 2 major tournaments coming up in the next 2 weeks, the Team Masters and the Junior Gold. Tell us a little bit about that. And for what it's worth, Mike, Team Masters paid, what, $64,000 first place the last couple of years. So tell us about the Team Masters and Bowl Gold that's coming up.
Team Masters is a tournament where everybody has to use the same 2 bowling balls. This year we're going to be using a plastic ball and a urethane ball. And we bowl on 2 different conditions. One day is short, one day is long, and then the third day it's long and short on the same lanes, or the 2 different lanes. And then Junior Gold, you get to go up to Buffalo this year, and there's a few days of qualifying, and then they take the finals, and then if you win that, you get a spot on Team USA, and then
wow.
So that's.
How many players will you get, like in the Junior Gold? How many players will show up for that?
I'm not sure how many this year, but I know it's the biggest year so far this year.
Somebody told me, Mike, it was over 2,000, so
yeah.
It's pretty good. In the Team Masters, I went and watched Shelly bowl last year. She finished in the top 10, and there's a couple hundred down there too. So a lot of action, as you well know, Pete, at the level. Are you going to bowl in either one of those tournaments?
I'll be bowling Junior Gold.
All right.
I actually this weekend I'll be going to the Junior Gold Prep Tournament, which is basically like a little mini tournament of Junior Gold, just to prepare us and show us what it's like to be going out there. We're going to be going across 3 different bowling alleys, as the same as only being able to bring 6 different bowling balls of our choice. And we're going to be going across 3 different patterns, short, medium, and long. So I'm ready.
Now let's talk a little bit about your learning curve, because I know, Bo, you're a little bit from the older generation. The newer generation of keeping up with bowling balls is really, really difficult these days. There's RGs, there's pin placements, there's surface changes, weight holes where you put them. It really changed the dynamics of the bowling balls. And we'll start with you, Pete. What do you still maybe possibly need to learn, or what would you like to know more about how to get a bowling ball to hook a certain way, or is there anything that you're still looking to kind of learn about bowling equipment?
I still want to learn, you know, more about the bowling ball itself. You know, I mean, I know what my bowling equipment's going to do. I've learned my reactions pretty well, but as far as the bowling ball itself, I want to learn more about it. And, you know, I mean, I think that'll help me progress in my game as time goes on.
Yeah, we've got a guy by the name of Chris Schlimmer, who I believe should be in the PBA Hall of Fame. He's won more titles as a ball rep than I believe anybody in the modern day game. But, you know, now we've got Del Ballard out there, and you know, it's really interesting. We need to bring in a full team of people for as many staff members as we have. You can't just have really one tour rep to be successful anymore. We bring in Jim Callahan. You know, you normally see a couple of salesmen just at the summer swing. Brett Cooper was helping out. Tyler Jensen was helping out, because there's just so much knowledge and so many different great pieces in our line that you have to drill up that many balls. And it's interesting, you say 6 balls you bring to the tournament. Shelly, you're bowling a tournament where you're only allowed to use 2 balls that are given to you as part of a little bit of a different tournament concept. But it's just got to be hard being a junior bowler right now. It's got to be tough, Bo.
Well, you know, I learned from Shelly in a way. I still bowl a lot. I mean, I bowl a lot. I bowl in league. I bowl a lot with Shelly. I watch her bowl her tournaments. And she actually teaches me how to change the surface of the ball. I was bowling with a Marvel S in a Sports Shot League 3 weeks ago, and I said, Shelly, I come back, I says, my ball's going down there like a knuckleball, like a hockey puck. So she gets in her bag, and what is that you got out there for me?
Bo decided to put a 180 on his marvelous.
180, folks, is scuffing it up perfect. But for me, good. And ball actually hooked a little bit. But it changed my score about 80 pins over 4-game series just by getting a little flip on the bowling ball. That's what somebody like Shelly, and I'm sure Pete's learned at a young age. And me, I said, from the old school, I'm trying 1 ball with 4 hand positions. It's tough to keep up with 4 balls in 1 hand position. So it's a great educational back and forth with Shelly and I.
Well, I just can't believe that we just heard here, ladies and gentlemen, that Bo Burton takes this Marvel S to a 180 grit. 180 grit.
If they had 80 grit, I'd have gone with the 80.
Hey, Bo, real quick, I want to talk about you for just a minute here. You know, do you feel like if you would have been born maybe 15 years later, that with the reactive resin bowling balls coming out and your accuracy, and we saw the growth of Walter Ray. I know Walter Ray was a player of the year prior to resin bowling balls coming out, but do you believe that I might be sitting next to the all-time most titles ever in PBA history? Because, I mean, let's face it, you know, the resin bowling ball, which we make and we've really revolutionized and through our innovation have done that. I truly believe, and I'm not just saying this because you're sitting next to me, but you might actually have more titles than anybody in the history of the PBA if you'd have been born 10 or 15 years later.
Well, that's quite a compliment, Mike. You know, my bowling, I had a good instructions. We had Pete Weber on earlier. I've got to bowl with some of the great players of all teams. My first ABC team, I bowled with Ned Day and Buddy Bowmore on it for the old Pipers. I learned to bowl on wood lanes and lacquer, as Pete Weber did, and as Norm Duke did, and as Walter Ray. That's a great learning curve with a basically plastic ball or a rubber ball. Now that I have the equipment like that Storm has provided with me, and I'm still an active bowler, and I still am pretty strong. I don't know if television took a lot of my time. You're doing a lot of television now, and you do a great job. And as you know, you can't really serve 2 masters. And as good a bowlers as there are in the country, I appreciate the compliment. Although I did win, I think, about 13 or 14 tournaments after I became announcer, I was never a full-time pro. Television was my first gig, and bowling was my second. And both have been very good to the Burton family, that's for sure.
Well, I just know I've gone back. I've watched you bowl, and I know how accurate you were. And if you just had a little more hitting power, get that 5 and that 7 and those 8 and those 10s out of there once in a while, I just got to believe that the modern game would have fit you really well.
Well, thank you. And bowling ball does make a difference. As Shelly and I have been practicing with these new balls that she has to take the Team Masters, we had to work on making the 5-7. She's got a shot to make them. Because we used to leave the 5-7 all the time. People don't understand that. So it was an accuracy game, because if you tried to power the old balls, not like we have in our Storm line, they just didn't work. I mean, if you turned it and hit the oil and just keep on going, so you're better off bowling like Don Carter, Dick Weber, or I learned to bowl, Billy Hardwick, Earl Anthony, you take all of them. And you really, all of us are a victim of our environment. If I started to bowling today like Shelly is or like Pete, I would be going to Jason Belmonte and getting that 2 hands going. Trust me, buddy, that's the go. In fact, the other night he invited me to pay all my expenses to come to Australia for a lesson. So I might hold him to it.
Well, I'll tell you what, you mentioned the thing about the announcing and the not being able to do both.
Yeah.
I went and totaled my worst USBC Open championships this year, and the scores are through the roof. We just had a 3,700 bowled out there, and congratulations to some of those guys. They were using our products. And I had my worst outing ever, so I think I'm going to stick to this too.
You got an excuse now.
So hey guys, we've got a few more minutes here. Curious to both of you, really. What is it about bowling that makes you keep wanting to get better at it? We'll start with you, Shelly.
I think it's the feeling you get when you do so good and you've like accomplished something so big as to winning a tournament. It's just one of the greatest feelings you can ever feel, and it just makes you want to do better and get better every day.
And for you, Pete?
I think that, you know, that the sport is always changing, you know? Like, there's always something new to learn. There's always something, you know, that you have to just do in general, you know, as the time goes on with the game. And me, myself, you know, limited to what I can do, I'm destined to practice it, you know, anything to get better as time goes on. And it really sets itself.
Okay, bud. Well, I think we got a couple of phenomenal up-and-comers here. Bo, are you willing to make a prediction here today that we're going to see future champions at the highest level?
I think Shelly is, and to answer that question in a way, I've seen as a young lady how bowling itself developed her life. I have to say this is a little embarrassing to her, but she wouldn't talk to herself in the mirror 18 months ago. But after a bowling ball took her to television, she's won tournaments, stood in front of audience. She got the self-confidence to go forward in life. She was in a Broadway play, The Great Gatsby. I went like this, oh my Shelly, and she was fantastic. She's coming up here and doing this. All of this is in the development of a person for life. Bowling has done that for Shelly.
Oh, that's outstanding. Now, Pete, you said that you were here and you wanted to see Mike Fagan because you liked his personality outside of bowling and you like how he keeps himself together on the lanes. Well, we're going to throw it to Mike Fagan now, who is a bit of a daredevil right now. Mike Fagan is actually up on the zip line right behind our booth, and he's about to head down the zip line right now. Take a look at the king of swing is the king of the zip line right now, right behind our booth. Well, Bo, do you think you could do that?
I'd be willing to try. I have to say I've been a little bit of a daredevil all my life.
Mobile zip line here. Last year I did rock climbing, so I mean Bowl Expo was all about everything for fun and everything involved in bowling. All right, I'm gonna go cool down a little bit.
But see, if Michael slips, he doesn't break anything. If Bo slips, you're out of business.
And I think they had him mic'd up there too.
Yes, he did.
I didn't even realize that at first.
What a production crew, huh?
Man, Mike, he's getting out. He's seeing it all. There's no question about it. Mike, that was hilarious. That was funny. We actually came in, and when we sat up here, they got the zip line behind us, and we thought, oh boy, out of all places to be placed right here on the expo floor, we've got the zip line behind us all day long. But it's been quite entertaining. So we've got just a few minutes left. Any closing statements or anything that you'd like to let people know, Pete? Just about anything that you want to talk about? You know, Storm, Bowl Expo, just personal things that are going on with you?
I mean, I would also like to say that, you know, I wouldn't be where I am today without Randy Peterson. You know, through his coaching and everything, he really has helped me progress my game in the matter of how long we've been working together. And I'm glad I'm being able to throw, you know, some of the best equipment in the world. Honestly, it definitely is an honor.
Well, it's an honor to have you here today, and we're happy that you were able to come up here. I don't know if I'd have been able to do it at your age, but, or at least as gracefully as you did. And Bo, I'll let you ask Shelly a final question here.
Well, Shelly is basically, I know Shelly real well, and I just watched her develop her game. I think that the future is here for Shelly now and what she would like to accomplish in college. She's going to a great bowling school. Lindenwood was, I believe, third last year, and the men won the national championship. What do you think about the college, you know, experience coming up and bowling for Phil Vida? You going to teach him how to win?
I'm really excited for it because we have a few girls coming up, and I think the team's going to be really strong, and I think we have a chance of winning nationals and getting to nationals and doing great things as a team, so I'm really excited for that.
And you will bring a lot. There is a lot that somebody like Randy Peterson can teach you, or I've taught Shelly. The college coaches don't even know. I'm not to belittle them, but I bowled on the tour for 30 years. There's tricks that Miss Shelly knows that she'll show her coach, so I think they're going to be tough to beat. And you're a St. Louis boy. You got to root for Lindenwood.
I do, and I see you've got all your media kit here, and I don't have a media kit per se, but I will toot my horn one time, and that I was the first 300 game in Lindenwood University history. It was the very first tournament I bowled with them. It was at Palace Lanes at the Buckeye Classic. Ed Smaglick and myself both bowled a 300, and it was with a Storm Sky Bowl.
Sound like a commercial, but yeah. Congratulations.
Thanks, buddy. Well, that's going to do it for today. Guys, thanks so much for coming and being a part of this. And
Thank you for having us.
The future is so bright in bowling. There's just no question about it. And good luck to you at Lindenwood, and Pete, keep doing your thing. And I know that if you end up going to Nebraska or wherever it is, I know you're going to be in great hands, and look forward to seeing you guys win some major tournaments and seeing you down the road. But hey, that's it for us, Bo. For now, we will be back. Us personally will be back at 4 o'clock with Mr. Fagan. And coming up here in just a few minutes at 3 o'clock, Randy Peterson is going to talk to the elite stars of our staff that have won major titles. Norm Duke, Wes Millat, Pete Weber, and Jason Belmonte will be joining them right back here on Storm Live. So that's it for now from Orlando here at Bowl Expo. We'll see you in a little bit. Enjoy Randy and the boys. You're coming up in just a little bit here from Orlando.